Okay, so let's talk about this book called The Seven Secrets of Success. So originally, the name of this book was supposed to be The Seven Secrets of Successful People, but because people like success but they don't like successful people, that's why the name is changed. And the author is Kenan Crnkic. You can see his other book on my YouTube channel as well. And then let's get started. So the number one thing in this book is that the person responsible for your success is this one. So this is like a mirror, and then when you read this, you're gonna see your face. So that's like when you look yourself in the mirror in the morning, like you are responsible for the success or the failures in your life. So let's start with the secret number one. So define your goal. So what's the number one thing most important to you? So what do you want to accomplish? And then just focus on that one. So if you see this book right over here, it's called The Number One Thing by Gary Keller, and it talks about the same thing but just in 250 pages, like to focus only on what's most important to you, and everything else either doesn't matter or becomes much easier. So the second one is take the right attitude, and it talks about the 80-20 rule. So the 80-20 rules is, there was Italian economic called Pareto, and he did a research about Italian land, and he figured out that 80% of Italian land was owned by 20% of, no, not 20%, but the top 20 wealthiest families in Italy. So then that study became famous, and then researchers in noticed that 80-20 rule was like you can notice that in every other situation. For example, 20% of, like, the 20% of the most commonly used words in English or in Serbian represent the 80% of the words you use, whatever. Like the top 20 commonly used represent the 80% of all. Is that funny? Yes. So basically the theory is that the 20% of the things you do will be responsible for the 80% of the success you have. So basically means just focus on those 20%, and then you'll get success without that much of a hassle. And then the next one is make a plan. That also described in that book as well, like this white one over here. Also means like, what's your someday goal, what's your 10-year goal, 5-year goal, 3-year goal, 1-year goal, 1 month goal, 1 week goal, 1 day goal. So what do you have to do right now to be closer to your 1 day goal? And then what do you have to do today to be closer to your 1 week goal? What do you have to do in this week to be closer to your 1 month goal, and so on and so on. So basically, let's say this video I'm creating. So is it bringing me closer to my 1 day goal? Yes. What's my 1 day goal? Create a video today. So what's my weekly goal? Create a video every single day for this week. So is today's goal bringing me closer to the weekly goal? Yes, it is. So what's my monthly goal? Create a video every single month. So this is maybe not the best idea, but it's like, just focus on what's most important to you, and then that's what you should be focusing on. And then secret number 3 is make a plan, and secret number 4 is you should have good habits. So adopt the habits of successful people. So the other white book right over here is called The Millionaire Success Habits, and you could see that book in my book reviews as well. And then it talks about this book talks about some other habits unlike the other one. And then basically they say that you should never give up, always try. And then he talks about Abraham Lincoln, how he failed 20 times in a row, and then when he was 52 he succeeded for the first time, and he's like one of the best American presidents. And then he talks about give it 110%. I talked about that in yesterday's video. So like when you're giving it your all, then just give a little bit more, and that 10% is like what gonna bring you the 90% of result. And the next one is like make priorities. So again, what's the most important thing? And then there's like the ABCD rule. So that's the the old new way of creating the to-do list. So in this book right over here, they say don't create to-do list, they say create not to-do list. But this one is talking about, so when you create a to-do list, the most important things you mark with the A, so that those things you have to do today. Like if today is your last day on the planet Earth, you have to accomplish those things. The big thing is you should do it. If you don't do it today, you have to do it tomorrow first. Then the C thing is like you should be doing it, but if you don't do it, it's not as important. For example, you call your friends and then if you should call your friend, but if you don't, whatever, like you'll call him next week or whatever. And D1 is what you should be delegating. Like for example, making lunch. Like, do you actually have to do that one? No, you don't. Just call your mom, brother, sister, girlfriend, boyfriend, like, hey, do you mind making me lunch? And they will say yes, of course. And then while they are making you lunch, you don't go watch TV. You do something important. For example, read this book. So you do what's called a task stacking, not multitasking. Multitasking is bad. Task stacking is good. And then they say it takes 21 days to make a habit in this book, which is not true. It takes 66 days, which is also not true. It's an average. It takes between 21 and 200 something days depending on the habit. For example, waking up in 5:30 may take me less than it takes you because I'm a morning person or whatever. But reading every single day may take me longer than it takes you because I don't like to read or whatever. And for example, when we compare me to me, it doesn't take me the same amount of time to put working out and reading books and waking up in 5:30 morning. It's gonna take me less to read books because I like reading books. Then it's gonna take me medium time to wake up in 5:30 in the morning because I know why I should be doing that. It's gonna take me longest time. Like, I believe it's gonna take me more than 66 days because I have been working out more than 66 days in a row and it's still not a habit. So that's why I say it takes between 20 and 200 days depending on the task and the person, but the average is 66 days, not 21. Sorry, doctor, you're wrong. So the next one, the secret number 5 is brand yourselves. That's why I'm actually doing these videos, but you already know that, because like, what's the number one thing people say about you? Is he good about reading? Is he working out hard? Is he smart? Is he talented? Is he good with the ladies? Good with the guys? Like, what's the thing people know you about? And then ask yourself, is that thing you want to be known about, or is there something else? So I want to be known about reading books and being good with people. So how do I do that? I record reading books, and I actively engage on one-to-one conversation with people. Like, I don't like texting. Everybody knows that. Like, yes, I'll reply to all of your texts, but I'm not gonna text you first because I just don't like doing that. I know why I should be doing that, but I don't like doing that. Just uh, there's a thing about introverts, they don't like to small talk. Like, I would either discuss you know topic about universe and does black hole exist or whatever, or not talk it out. Like, that's the thing about the introverts. They're either saying something that brings you value, or not saying anything at all. So that's why you should branding yourself. It's really, really important. Then you have the leverage, so you can, you know I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the another one. So you can, use that leverage to go to the next step, which is connect yourself or networking. So you will need to know influential people. You want to become one of those, but you also need to know one of those. So for example, I read a lot of books. All of these big books, right? Well, not this one, but almost all of them. And these ones on the bottom, yeah, I started a new row. So I have read more than 25 books right about now. And then if you want to discuss books, you'll call me, because I know a lot about books and authors, and which ones should you read and which ones you don't, because believe it or not, some books don't deserve to be read. Some books only few chapters, and some books deserve to be read multiple times. Yes, some books deserve to be read at least once a year. And the smallest book right over here, I think you should be reading that book once a month. That's how powerful it is. And then the next step is networking. So you should be networking with other people, and I just don't mean your friends. I mean the people you wish you become in 10 days. So whatever you want to be, you want to be the best basketball player or college level basketball player, then you hang out with successful trainers, successful basketball players, so they can, even though they might not be personally mentoring you, they may give you a tip, or they may know a person who can help you. Then you want to connect with professors, because professors know a lot of people. Then when like when I need something, I go to one of my professors from the high school, and I'm like, okay, so this is what I'm struggling with, do you know somebody who can help me? And they're like, of course, Timo, you go to that person, here's the number. And then I call them or text them or something like that. Then we connect, and then I get help. And the next one is the seventh secret is, like, what's your purpose? So why were you brought to the universe, right? Or whatever you're gonna call, whether you're religious or not. So what's your purpose on the earth? And then, like, what are you good at? What do you like to do? What brings people value? You combine those three, and then in the middle, so there's like circle, 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 and where all three circles connect, like right over here. Like, that's like your purpose in the world, and that you should be doing that. So for example, me, like, what I like to do, I like traveling. And I like bungee jumping and jumping out the plane, and I like climbing mountains, and I like to shoot basketball. And those are things I like to do. And there are a few others, but just for example. And then what I'm good at, I believe I'm good at talking with people. So what I should be doing is be like, yo, I like shooting ball. You like playing basketball. Let's shoot some balls and talk about it. So I, do what I'm good, do what I like at the same time. While we're talking about it, during our game, I asked them, hey, how can I help you? And they're like, well, Timo, I need some advice about promoting books or whatever. And then I give them advice about promoting books because that's what's bringing them value. And that little thing is what I should be doing because that's my purpose in the world. And then the last one is like, instead of the conclusion, they talk about the clam and the eagle. And so God made clam and put it in the ocean, and the only thing clam had to do is like open and close the mouth and wait for the food to come in and then close it, and that's the only thing the clam needs to do to survive. But on the other side, the clam doesn't see anything except for the surrounding. But then the God made eagle, and eagle can fly and see the world and experience the things and do whatever it wants. It has the freedom. But on the other side, the eagle has to hunt the food, has to work for it. So which one do you want to be? The safe clam that's boring, or the eagle that has to work but can experience a lot of the world? And most of the people are in between. They're ducks. So they can fly, but they don't. They're in the water, which represents safety. And whenever there's something they don't like, they just wah, 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 wah. That's what you do. You complain. Every time something's bothering you, you complain instead of working on it, fixing it, hunting it, killing it. That's what you should be doing. You should be flying, experiencing the world, not just complaining and doing that. Wah, 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 wah. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you tomorrow.